Hey, Patrick.
Again, buddy. So what have you from today?
Well, we have actual justice warrior discussing some wild judge activity in the state of Minnesota. We've been covering things specifically in some states like Washington State with Undivided and in the state of California as well. It just seems like some of these states have a lot of graft and they're not regulating. They're just not regulating things appropriately. And it seems that there's a certain community that is doing very well in Minnesota, and it looks like this might be why. So go ahead and roll this.
But the Somali community, isn't it? I've seen headlines around the place.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is out of Minnesota, so we will let the actual justice warrior give us a little bit. It starts with a news clip, and then he's going to get into what he's got to say, and then we'll.
All right. Okay.
We'll take it from there.
Big reversal in a $7.2 million fraud case in Hennepin County. The judge has thrown out the jury's guilty verdict. This is a case Lou Raguse has been following since the beginning.
Yeah, right away. The judge set aside guilty verdict.
All right. So they stole 7.2 million off the state.
Right, and they were found guilty by a jury.
Oh, by a jury, okay. Mm-hmm. And I presume it's been set aside by the judge.
Yes, the judge said, nah, I don't like it, or whatever.
What? And what?
Yeah, we'll find out later in the video why it was that it is a she. She set it aside, and we'll be all flabbergasted together. Right, so here we go.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see her justification for this one.
Right, well, yeah, I don't know that it's going to hold a lot of water, but I just...
Yeah, I say the state will re-prosecute it. I guarantee it.
They might. I don't think they'll retry it. I think it'll get appealed, and then that decision. Well, like I said, whatever the state function is, but they'll get something sorted out because apparently it was a bit obvious what was going on. So, but we'll see. A lot of work yet to be done. So here we go.
Okay.
Could make it harder to prosecute state fraud cases in the future.
So we have been inundated with story after story of fraud coming out of the state of Minnesota, specifically as it relates to taxpayer dollars, and a huge portion of this fraud is coming from the burgeoning Somali community.
So understand that this is being taken from the taxpayers' monies, right? This isn't fraud one company to another. This is the state of Minnesota paid taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, state income tax, whatever they paid. Now they're funding whatever this is because somebody isn't caretaking quite well enough. There's no vetting system appropriate for the situation. And once they set up a unit to find it, and they certainly found it.
Oh yeah, fair juice to the state, and the state brought a case, and obviously this judge decided to
set it aside.
Wow.
It's on its face, it sounds very, very unbelievable, but we've looked into it ourselves, and this is going on. It's going on not just in Minnesota, but a lot of other places. And it has to do with unregulated NGOs and too much paperwork and people just not reviewing the documentation. Job. Yeah, people are just like, people just not doing their job. That's you. Right, but also in this situation, it looks like there's kickbacks and other stuff like that where the taxpayer money is going to the business, and then the business is paying kickbacks, and it's all shown in their documentation. So it gets crazier. So here we go.
Well, okay.
In that particular state, and we have seen scheme after scheme be uncovered, and we've talked about it on this channel, and these scams are so common in the state of Minnesota that one of the funniest things that we ended up discovering while watching one of these local news segments is that the local news media actually has uncovered specific office buildings that are the setup location for multiple of these different schemes, even after the previous one was busted up by the feds.
So as an aside, I've watched forward a little bit. We're not going in completely blind like we do sometimes for fun.
Yeah.
There's a building with a suite. The suite is 400, but there was a list of, I believe, 40 or 50 businesses that are out of an office that doesn't even have office furniture. Right?
Yeah, if you see the size of this tiny little office building, you're kind of going,
yeah. Well, for 50 businesses that are supposed to be providing full staffs, it's Medicaid assistance, whatever the state of Minnesota has for their assist Medicaid behind Medicare, that's where it's coming from. So not only are they getting state dollars, but they're getting matched funds from the Fed as well. So if the state doesn't want to come after this thing, the Fed's going to follow up nicely and go, hey, now, like, this is naughty in a bad way.
Either way, they're getting prosecuted, no matter what this judge says.
So what we have up right here is from the Office of Minnesota Secretary of State, Steve Simon. The name of the business is United Liability Company Domestic, and it's a business type, is a limited liability company, LLC. But the name of the business is Action Therapy LLC, right?
Action Therapy. Okay, that's a cool name, actually.
Well, there's also some other interesting stuff. So the manager is that feller's name down there, but registered agents are registered agents for service of process. So if you have a legal issue with this business, you would bring it to the registered agent to get that done, right?
Right.
So, yeah, this is more than just a little bit hanky, my friend. Here we go.
Secretary of State filings confirmed a business address, which brought us to this building in Roseville.
All right.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
This is Roseville, Minnesota, not Roseville, California. Heads up.
Bear in mind now, there's 50 registered businesses.
Oh, it looks like that. There's like 5 or 6. Yeah, it's great.
No, this particular guy had 50 businesses operating.
Having a sense of deja vu. I've already been to this address and this exact suite number.
This is a local reporter. He's out of Roseville, Minnesota.
Months ago, when we were looking at a housing stabilization company called Liberty Plus. Now, here we are, going back to the same address and suite, looking for Action Therapy.
Wait a second. So he went to this particular address for a different type of scam, not the healthcare scam, but a housing authority scam. They're operating now in the same place as well.
Well, it's housing stabilization. It's a company that helps people find housing, right? And that's an NGO thing. It's like the homeless, the homeless industrial complex. It's the same kind of thing. So this is a scam run in Minnesota, and the homeless industrial complex in California. Like,
what shocks me more is the brass neck they have to register all these charities over the one suite of office buildings.
Right. All right. So if you look at it, see where his finger is pointed there, it's Suite 400. Yeah. All right. So Suite 100's got Midwest. We got a couple other businesses. Oh, there's a couple suites on the 3rd floor. But you see all this print right here, all this right here, bro. All that is all of those things that are out of that office. Right. Right. That's pretty insane.
No, all jokes aside, they have a brass neck to operate this. But also the failure in some state body not to realize that many businesses are the one floor of suite in a tiny office building.
Well, no, but the other thing is those Secretary of State offices, Minnesota's a pretty populous state, right? And California's got the same problem. So 1/10 of the population of our country lives in the state of California. And the Secretary of State runs into stuff like this here too, right? So, but I mean, you can't, when you're looking through it, I mean, you can't run a search that says, well, that's strange. All these businesses are out of this one suite. Right? That suite needs to be the size of that.
Or somebody in the state office do what this reporter is doing, just physically calls the building.
Right. Well, bro, to have that many businesses, you'd have to have a warehouse the size of the Tesla factory in Austin, Texas. And that thing, and I will tell you, that building, you can drive by it at 65 miles an hour, the legal speed limit, on that freeway in beautiful Austin, Texas, and it takes you 2 minutes to drive the entire distance of the building. That's how big a building you'd have to be to run all of these friggin' businesses.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list of businesses.
Right. He's going to show us the door too. It's going to be a better picture, but I just thought this was. I was just like looking at his finger on there, like, oh my god, and that's all small print too. It looks like 3 miles. Yeah, that's insane. All right, here we go.
400. Action Therapy.
Look at that, dude. That's crazy.
What we're going to talk about today is a specific Medicaid scheme, one that cost the taxpayers $7.2 million.
I say again, 7.2 million. That's a lot. That
I wonder how much. I wonder how much in total all those businesses are taking in.
No idea. But if that one business did 7.2 and there's a list of, I don't know, 30, 40,
there's a list of about 50, 60 of there.
Yeah. The state of Minnesota is getting fleeced.
Wow.
And what was described as, by the jurors, the easiest conviction that you could possibly imagine when they discovered that the person behind this scheme didn't even have an office building, let alone render the services that he claimed he was rendering, and actually ran his whole operation out of one single mailbox over the course of years, and again, took $7.2 million from the taxpayer, and yet somehow one judge has decided that Somalis are innocent Baba Angel Aladdins, and she has overturned this conviction. So what we're going to do throughout the course of this video is talk about how guilty these people actually are, how insane this decision actually is, and the broader implications of having these woke left-wing judges just overturn it based on very little evidence.
So a jury convicted in record time, functionally like they said, this based on the evidence, right?
Yeah.
The evidence presented by the prosecutor, right? Nothing circumstantial.
In record time.
Right. And all the evidence put into the record appropriately, right? They came back, snap decision. This dude is stealing. That's fraud, right? And it's not just one kind of fraud. It's overbilling. It's didn't provide the services.
It's just a list. We're just saying this is a list.
Dude did all the wrong things, and there's a paper trail, and we see it. Like, it is clear as day. Right? The sun is shining on this dude's bare ass neck. Right? Like, oh my God. All right.
I really want to see this judge's decision.
I think that's later in the video. We got a lot of setup to do for this one. Like, here's how. Yeah, but yeah.
Because they
it gets worse.
Like and honestly, aren't the Somalis entitled to loot our country as guests in our nation, as supposed refugees?
Yes, they are.
This is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to discuss. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Oh, give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Lou?
I love Anna Kasparian on that one. That's amazing. I love that bit. I really, really do. We're going to keep that in there. Normally we wouldn't, but we're going to keep that in there because Anna Kasparian.
Yeah, keep that bit in there. Give me the money.
No, you give me the.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. I love it. For the $0.
The other funny thing is I remember when that was done back in the day when I used to watch the Young Turks, which was many, many years ago, actually.
Well, I think Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur have gone to different places, shall we say.
Have they? Since when?
Some of their opinions are a little bit buried now. They're not quite so on the same sheet of music. Or they're
I thought they were very good friends. Okay.
Well, no, they might be friends. I watched them. But check this out. You and I are friends, and we disagree vehemently on some things. You say X, I say Y, and I'm like, well, I respect your opinion, but I don't have to believe the way you believe.
I want to go over and fleece your country. It seems to be that easy. Sorry.
Well, you got a bunch of people in your country already doing it.
That's true, but not to this extent.
Oh. Well, you worked with NGOs before. You know how dirty that gets.
I have worked with NGOs before, but we've had a couple of rogue NGOs over the years, but they usually get caught pretty quickly.
Get roped in
because they have to every now and again. Say if you're an NGO in Ireland, you can be audited at any time by the ombudsman.
Okay.
So 9 times out of 10, they usually get weeded out pretty quick.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's see what Mr. Suit and Tie has to say.
Julie, it's extremely rare for a judge to reverse a jury's verdict in a criminal case. Jurors I spoke to today told me it was not a difficult decision to find Abdi Fattah Yusuf guilty in a Medicaid billing scheme, and they're surprised by this development.
Yeah, the percentage chance a judge...
I'm surprised.
Yeah, the percentage chance
I bet your prosecutor was very surprised.
Right, well, the percentage chance that a judge is going to set aside a criminal conviction is very, very low. Normally what they do is...
Especially in a case like this.
Looks like he'll open and shut, right? But the other thing is normally if they feel like something has gone awry or there's something strange in it, at sentencing, they'll make a statement and then they'll do whatever they do in sentencing, right? Because in the United States, functionally, if you commit X crime, it comes with Y time served, whatever, right? Yes. So if you think that something's strange, then you would reduce that time to the minimum and then grant good behavior and all this other stuff. Like
I know the bits and bobs.
Yeah. So as opposed to 7 to 10 years, it's going to be 7 years, but it's going to be 35% of time served. So they get triple credits for the day, but whatever the thing is, whatever the state allows, right? And so this just feels wrong, but we'll find out more. We'll find
why
out
didn't
more.
he just set up an NGO and put all his expenses down as administration? That's what most of them do.
Well, I think a lot of it was NGO stuff.
That's the easiest way for NGOs to rip.
And that's from Patrick McCallum, the blueprint for embezzlement, y'all. Here we go. Okay. Good job, Patrick. Thank you.
Administration, hire all your family and friends, put them down as administrators and pay them.
I think that's what happened, because I think Mrs. Yusuf was also a part of the prosecution, part of the problem. So, all right, here we go.
At the August trial for Abdi Fattah Yusuf, the jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company, Promise Health, out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located. Yusuf and his wife, Lowell,
we saw the list.
Dollars of taxpayer money through Medicaid overbilling in a personal care assistant, or PCA, scam. The couple allegedly spent tens of thousands of the fraud money on luxury items for themselves.
So the local news segment highlights the fact that they were spending money on luxury goods, they were running the business out of a mailbox, and all these other things that indicate guilt of the person that was convicted in this particular case. But if you can believe it, they are actually dramatically underselling the obvious guilt of these individuals. So what we have to do is go to some articles that break down the case from at the time of conviction, what was actually proven in court, for you to see it for yourselves, because you will be blown away by the fact that one judge decided to override a jury of the peers of this particular individual when the evidence was so overwhelming. Again, from August 12th.
Yeah, so he's going to read through this, but I'm going to leave it up here for a second. If you want to pause, you can pause. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, so we're going to push it forward a little bit. The thing is that all of this stuff is a matter of public record, right? Abdi Fattah Yusuf and his wife really did the bad thing, right?
they weren't even good at it.
Yeah,
they weren't even really good at it. Let's not give them too much credit. This wasn't exactly, crime of the century here.
Right.
They just
this isn't Ocean's 11 NGO. This, you know what I'm saying? Finish reading this and get back to it. So
Sarah S. West at a later date to be set by the court.
And that's the judge, Sarah S. West.
Right, okay.
So they were able to prove in court that Abdi Fattah Yusuf stole north of $35,000 6 different times, for a total, by the way, of $7.2 million.
Right, so that's 35,000 times 6 plus all the additional stuff, right? And he's going to talk about that, but that's those 6 for that one business, right?
During the trial, and there were multiple aggravating factors behind this in order to get sentence enhancements, because that is how guilty he was, that not even Keith Ellison, a woke left-wing attorney general, one of the worst in the country, could actually ignore it. But it actually...
So that's an opinion. I don't know if that's true. I didn't actually research that guy.
I think that's a bit disingenuous, because in fairness, he brought the case. He got the verdict, got the jury. You know what I mean? He presented a very good case.
But that's because of the unit that he set up to go find stuff like this. You know what I'm saying?
So if he is such an incompetent person, how did he find the fraud? I think it's a bit disingenuous to call him names, especially after he won the case fair and square in fairness to him.
Right, and then the judge slammed it. But we'll go for it.
Exactly.
Actually gets significantly worse, because of this case was backed up by financial records and all sorts of other things that are clearly and obviously indicative of guilt. However, this woke left-wing judge that we're going to get into in just a little bit thought anything but guilt was appropriate for these innocent Baba Angel Somalis.
That one might be accurate for the judge, though, based on what we're going to see later. That might.
Let's see what her decision was. And I'm always interested to see these judges thinking when they have, because they have to, when they're setting aside what people don't understand is when they set aside a conviction like this, they always have to have a written decision.
Right.
Go with that. Mm-hmm. So I'll be interested to see what she has to say.
Right. If they don't just accept, okay, the jury says you're guilty, we'll go to a sentencing hearing, and at the sentencing hearing, I'll make a statement, and then da-da-da-da. So here we go.
Yeah.
In June of 2024, Attorney General Ellison's MFCU charged Yusuf with bilking Minnesota medical assistants.
So that MFCU is the unit that was created to find that stuff, but we can go forward from here. Functionally, they just spent all that money.
But in fairness now to the Attorney General, he set up a unit to find fraud within the system. They found fraud within the system.
But I like the $80,000 in luxury clothing stores, Michael Kors, third degree heat. Like, Jesus Christ. All right, here we go.
Them to receive quote unquote services from the agent. So this is basically fraud on every possible level. They were billing for services that didn't exist.
1.
They didn't even have an office, much
2.
less the staff.
Well, technically they had an office.
Provide these services. They were getting
it was a core sharing office.
They were using their identity
3
in order to bill services to, in order to make sure they kept their mouth shut. And again, they did this for years while operating the entirety of this at-home healthcare business out of one single mailbox. But the numbers and the paper trail associated with this are astronomical and insane. While Yusuf operated Promise, the agency stole over...
Yeah, they stole a lot. They stole a lot.
But let me let you in on a little bit of a secret. If you take money from your business account when it's an LLC and then transfer it directly into your personal account and it is not done up properly as compensation that you do taxes on and whatnot, you're not W-2'd properly or W-9 properly.
We have the same laws over here, actually.
Right. So it's a W-2, W-9, also a 1099. But the problem is when you move it from your business account to your personal account, if not done correctly, then all of your personal finances get wrapped up in the LLC, right? The limited liability corporation is to separate, right? It's not a sole proprietorship or an S corp.
As they say, you break the envelope of protection if you do that.
Not the brown envelope.
For your own sake.
Not the brown envelope. Okay.
No, that's why when I was studying business, I remember you have to be very, very careful mixing your business accounts and your personal accounts.
Right.
Because if you pierce that envelope, if your business goes down, you won't have the limited liability protection.
Right. So if you don't appropriately document that I did this work at this rate and then I get paid $22 an hour for what I did for 80 hours, right? Unless it's specifically delineated, you've screwed up. You've got to have line item. You got to double book entry. You got to do all that stuff. So
otherwise, you can lose all your personal assets as well. Not just your business, but also your personal.
Right. Which is why people avoid sole proprietorships or S corps, generally speaking, as well.
That is a crime on its own. But this guy not only did that, but on paper, he spent a huge portion of the money on luxury goods and whatnot. But then he withdrew nearly $400,000 in
$387,000
in cash, again, of money fraudulently obtained for services that were not provided. And he also spent
go to Vegas, I wonder.
God knows what, possibly more bribes to providers, possibly more luxury goods that have yet to be determined. But needless to say,
right, that's all conjecture, but the money got taken out.
It's only guesswork. He could have spent that $380,000 not just on bribes, but he could have gone to Vegas for a weekend.
He could have been buying pineapples and Pez dispensers, but whatever it was fraudulently moved and taken out anyway, right?
I think that was a limit. Yeah, wow.
This
it wasn't even subtle, this scam.
So obviously suspicious and ridiculous and unjustifiable that, of course, a jury convicted this guy in no time at all. They were saying it was one of the easiest convictions humanly possible. However, like I said, one judge decided to overturn this
Sarah West
conviction. So let us hear from her explanation on why she did.
Oh, here it comes. This is what you wanted to hear, Patrick. You ready?
I really want to see what her decision was about.
Oh, I want to wait to hit play now. No, I got you.
What, again, is a rare move for a judge to actually engage in, which is override the will of the jury in order to let this guy go.
Despite the jury swiftly convicting Yusuf, Judge Sarah West last week decided they got it wrong.
It's reversing or overturning a jury's verdict.
Defense attorney Joe Tamburino, who's not affiliated with this case, reviewed the decision and analyzed it for KARE 11 News. He says Judge West ruled that the state's...
Wait, no, that's not even setting aside. That's, oh, wow. It's worse.
Yeah. That is a lot worse.
Well, that's over. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Let's press play there.
Case relies heavily on circumstantial evidence.
Honestly, guys, I don't even know how this person is a judge.
What? The evidence was very straightforward.
Right. Here's the paperwork.
Here's the paperwork. Here's the office building. Here's the office suite with 50 odd. Wow. Even a blind man could, even a first-year law student could prosecute this case.
Well,
so straightforward.
So the first year of law school in the United States is torts, and this is all tort stuff. So
specifically
a first-year law student.
Yeah. Anybody could. Yeah. Wow. Okay. It's all. Oh. What the hell is this judge at? Show me. Let's see what
her honor also said.
Maybe her law degree is given to her based on some fraudulent Somali operation, because the fact that a judge said that this case was based on circumstantial evidence, therefore something, they're probably not guilty, is patently absurd and ridiculous. Let me explain something to you guys out there in the audience, because you might get your legal education from shows like Law and Order or like CSI or whatever, but the overwhelming majority of evidence is circumstantial evidence. There's two different categories. There is direct and circumstantial. Direct is an eyewitness, somebody who is testifying against you. Basically, that is it. Or confession from the person who participated in the actual crime. Everything else is circumstantial evidence. All forensic evidence, including DNA, paperwork, all that stuff.
You're building the blocks of your case.
Right. It's all circumstantial. Yeah.
But still, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Paper trail in this particular case, that is all technically circumstantial evidence. So what the judge is saying right here is that since they couldn't flip somebody to turn on this guy, and this guy didn't confess to the fraud, this is all circumstantial evidence, which, by the way, means hard evidence, means data, means bank records, means everything you should need to convict, because make no mistake about it, you can, and many people do get convicted just on circumstantial evidence, because that is all physical evidence, all record evidence. And she's like, no.
Yeah, it's everything except for I make a declaration that says I saw the thing, right? So that's what all the other, So this is very strange.
She just threw out all the evidence.
Right. Well, and the problem is in law, there's a thing called terms of art, right? Say like su sponte, just made it up, or ad litem, or pro per, in proportion.
Yeah.
There's all these expressions that are used, right? Circumstantial evidence is a specific term of art that describes the things that are not, I said you did it, right? It's all the other stuff. Like you said, that's the building blocks of making your case, right?
Every case is like that. Every single case.
Yeah.
As he was saying there.
So the Honorable Ms. West did something very strange here. So let's let this dude cook.
Big deal. I don't think you guys really needed to go in that direction with the detailed banking information and whatnot. And then she follows it up by saying that the prosecution should have found other theories that were alternatives to guilt.
And that she believed the state did not rule out other reasonable inferences.
That in fact, there could have been other reasonable theories other than guilt in this case.
Okay, so everybody needs to also understand that ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking the laws.
That's right. Just because you don't know doesn't mean it's not applicable to you as well.
Other theories like what?
Well, I don't know. Like,
somebody
homie didn't know, so homie ain't guilty. No, man. Homie's guilty.
The money was just what? The money was just resting in his account. He didn't know where it came from.
Thank you, Father. All right, here we go.
So if one of the alternatives to guilt is that these Somalis just didn't know that you weren't supposed to take $1 million in fraudulently obtained funds,
7 million,
transfer it to your personal account, then withdraw $400,000 of that in cash, spend it on God knows what, and then, of course, in addition to that, you weren't supposed to buy luxury goods with, again, money that was supposed to be going to the services that you definitely weren't providing. That is not an excuse.
And overbilled for.
So I don't know what the hell this judge is on about alternative theories to guilt. Maybe they were just scammed into making themselves multi-millionaires off the taxpayer dole, but I honestly don't know what the she's talking about. This woman has absolutely lost her mind, and we really need to reassess what is going on with these judges.
That's what it comes down to.
Despite the ruling, even Judge West wrote that she is troubled by the manner in which fraud was able to be perpetuated at Promise Health.
And then this judge closes by saying that she's concerned about the level of fraud that is going on in the state of Minnesota when it comes to their Medicaid program. Well, one of the things that
that's the final. You know what? That's the final insult to the state prosecutor.
I'm going to let this guy go, but there's just a lot of fraud. We just showed you all the fraud.
A lot of fraud, but I'm not going to convict this guy.
No, he was convicted, but she overturned
in fairness to the state prosecutor, they did build a very good case. A very solid case, but it looks from the outside looking in.
Yeah, it looks pretty solid.
They got proper units, they got all the bank records, they got all their ducks lined up. Wow.
And then the judge was like, no, we're overturning. Like, what?
Level of fraud that is going on in a certain situation is not use my power to then release the fraudster. Like, that would be the first step, probably, in my humblest of humble opinions, to addressing the problem. Because what this judge ultimately ended up doing is creating a scenario where people can appeal their fraud convictions despite overwhelming evidence of guilt, with the expectation that this dumbass judge will be like, well, you know, I don't really know if they really explored all evidence of innocence. Why didn't the prosecution at trial try to prove that this Somali didn't do anything?
Is that somewhat prosecutors do?
No, it's not.
It's almost as if they're not the defense attorney. It's almost as if the evidence was overwhelming and they pursued the case as they should. But that's just confusing to this dumbass judge who thinks that maybe there's alternative theories, but also she is very much concerned with the...
Right. The alternative theories are the ones that are presented by the defense. The prosecution says this is the thing.
That's what I was about to say. Is that's a defense job. That's
the
their
function
job.
of the defense. So
it's not up to the prosecutor to do this.
All right. So we just wanted to bring you guys something crazy today that went on in Minnesota. So we figured this might be a little fun and you guys could sink your teeth into this one. So
yeah, in fairness now to the state prosecutor, they did nothing wrong in this case.
No, they did it right.
They built a very solid case. They did everything right.
Yeah, it still got flipped.
The jury did everything right. But wow, this judge is just... wow.
All right, y'all. For Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansson. Subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things, and help us be the algorithm. We are the A&P Gents, and we are out.